You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
I have come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubble.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, where I am broadcasting in North Idaho, an actual free state. Some people may say, BZ, who are you? And I reply, I'm your conservative Sherpa, guiding you through the maelstrom of Democrat, leftist, globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Please note what you're about to hear for the next, hour and a half, 2 hours. Who the hell knows? It's my show. I'll go until I'm done. Consists of my opinion and my opinion only, and those of my lovely guests. Have I got some great guests for you tonight? One of which has never been here before, but he is definitely a veteran with regard to podcasting. What am I doing? Well, I'm doing the job that the American media maggots won't. I am fundamentally changing America one leftist diaper at a time. We don't water our drinks here, just like we don't water our conversations. We are still serving stiff drinks in the saloon along with facts, history, logic, rationality, proportion, context, tradition, clarity, and common sense for regular normal people like you and me. Politics, religion, crime, culture, race, sex, science, law. We talk about it all right here at the saloon, where the speech is free, but the booze, sadly, is not. I am streaming live on a whole bunch of places at this time. Spreaker, well, no, we do that later in podcast. You can listen on Apple Podcasts, streaming Facebook Live right now, YouTube Live, Rumble Live, on X, Twitter, at BZ's Saloon, and and Twitch as well. Sorry, Rick, I screwed that up. At KLRN Radio. So it is Tuesday night. It is February. Fuck. Great, BZ, starting out great. Okay, wonderful. Did I not tell everyone I can't say the damned word February? February. The 18th. It's that month, the second month, the 18th, the year of our Lord, 2025. And so tonight in the saloon, heavy sigh, trying not to screw it up, but I already have. I've got a couple of great guests. We have Jeremy HANSON, who is yonder, and make sure that we turn that on. And I have the act you've known for all these years, ROCCI STUCCI. So, gentlemen's, welcome, and it is great to see you.
Happy February.
Yeah, happy February.
Some people can say it. Some people can't.
You know,
anyway,
I was thinking that I think we should probably just all do the show topless tonight.
I'm not wearing any pants. Does that count?
Bro, you should have said something before we started, because we would have adjusted. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and the corollary question is, do you ever wear pants while podcasting, BZ? And the answer is no, just shorts.
No.
What kind of shorts? I can't tell you. So anyway, welcome back to Jeremy HANSON, a fellow podcaster who actually gets numbers and listeners. Although I do enjoy saying that I am the best late night conservatarian talk show that you have never heard. And of course, I'd like to welcome a new guest to the Saloon, who is a guy that we talked before the show, and I said, you got to come and we got to do a show just with you, ROCCI STUCCI from STUCCI Media. So tonight's show comes from a little tete-a-tete with
what?
Witty repartee.
Ooh.
Like Jeremy took a comment and he shoved it over here, and I look at and I caught it, and I whisked it around like jambalaya and threw it back at him, and he received it back in his mitt, and it was repartee like you've never seen repartee, and we talked about podcasting.
I'm going to tell you something. You know, you're talking to an old school radio guy when they
Okay.
do their own sound effects.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, bro, that was good. Bro. I was
Also,
actually doing that.
don't need no stinking sound effects, and if I do, then I need to be beaten.
See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying?
Yeah. So anyway,
BC, I got to say, the zip zop tip thing you were doing, it actually goes full circle here, because I brought that up to you because I said, I was having a really pissed off day, and all this stuff was happening, and I saw a post of Rocky's that said, if you have to buy viewers, you're not an influencer, you're a
Con artist.
something con artist. There you go.
Yeah,
and that's what made me think of it, because I was so pissed off that day. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about, but we'll get into that later. But just full circle here, it's like the whole thing.
okay, con artist, first of the show. I think tonight probably there will be an ass fucking ton of those.
Oh,
Anyway, we were talking, and finally I realized. I said, "What is it? Something I said?"
you said ass fucking. And I was just like, whoa, bro.
I'm sorry. Well, it's a late night radio show, and there are no children watching anyway. Kumbaya. You must have been to an old Giants concert. So I said, basically, to Jeremy Hanson, dude, you created my next week's show about podcasting. So Jeremy is telling me stuff that he may have told me before, because I have no ROM. It's basically, I don't have any RAM either, for that matter. And I said, you created my show for next week. That's what we're going to be talking about. The crap in podcasting. People don't know a fraction of what you just told me, because everybody thinks, oh, podcasting, I can get into podcasting and I will make an ass ton of money. I will make a blivet of money.
Right.
And a blivet is 10 pounds of cash in a 5-pound bag that it'll be absolutely overflowing, because I am the source of all talent in God's world. And the answer is no, it's not.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that post. I made another post right around that same time. I was a message to all the new podcasters coming on, and I said, I just want to help you all, just to get you off on the right foot, that you are not nearly as fucking as special as you think you are. So that's the best advice I can give to some of these new podcasters, is eliminate that fucking ego and that narcissism. Right? We all got a little bit of narcissism, right? I mean, this is what we do. We go on a national fucking airway. But it's just like, get rid of that fucking ego, man, and realize that you're not special. And there's people 1,000 times better than you that can't get numbers either, right? It's about fucking consistency.
Well, boy, if that's ever a truism, because I'm going to ask both of you guys, because if there were, I could have asked maybe 3 or 4 people to come on tonight, but some of the people I'm still kind of
asked us. That's
well,
right.
yes, yes, and B, some other of the personnel that I considered I wasn't really interested in putting on the spot, because these are some people that are still trying to make numbers and trying to make dollars, and I get it. I completely get it, and I have to tell everyone my position. I'm unique in this world because I'm not looking for money. I haven't monetized a thing. I have zero interest in paying any more money to the federal government. The ads that you're going to hear on the show, I get them. I do them. I provide them for free. Rocky, you want an ad on this show? I'd be happy to play it at my breaks. Jeremy, you want to do an ad? You know me. I'm always happy to do it. I don't charge money. I just have people here that I like, that I believe in. So I'm not tapping anything in terms of money. There's no paywall. I haven't monetized a thing. But you guys are a veritable trove of info about podcasting. Been doing it a while. So the reason I selected you guys is because you're not newbies. You've been everywhere. And so I and others want to learn and hear about your experiences, because as I was listening to Jeremy, I thought, okay, how many people in some kind of a RAID array in a computer are all getting screwed at the same time on numerous levels? You know, you guys especially have had numbers, and I had Jeremy try to do my analytics a while ago. You guys have numbers that were so incredibly superior to my little winky show, but that's all the stuff that I want to get into.
Hey, can I say something?
Please.
And I think this is a good place to start. And I really hope, and so when this is done, I will absolutely, we'll write an article up on this and we'll distribute this out, because people, they need to hear something when we talk about numbers, man. And make sure we go back to what I was talking about that day I made that comment, Jeremy. Make sure we don't forget to bring that up, because that's important in this discussion too. Through my evolution in radio and podcasting, I was on that insanity, man. I was on that fucking insanity to where it's just like we were consumed, and all three of us have kind of been, on that same path. We've all been, Jeremy, you and I have been fucking tight for fucking years, dude. So we've all gone on these different adventures, and we've witnessed it, and we've all done it, man. We've all had the Facebook pages, we've all had them taken down. And I want to tell people the biggest lesson that I've learned when I chased those numbers and I chased the corporate sponsorships and all the shit I've done, is I found myself to be so much more fucking miserable. Because when you chase numbers, you're entering arenas that are taking the fun away what you do, and it's turning what you do into a fucking business. And so now what you're doing, instead of doing your passion, you're pleasing fucking corporate sponsors. And if you misbehave at all or misstep in any given fucking time, these corporate sponsors will gladly threaten to always take their money away from you. And you're also entering the realm of people that wear suits, but they're the most vindictive, criminalistic type of people that you'll ever meet. So always know your fucking purpose. And if numbers is something you truly want, really understand the type of fucking jungle you're walking into before you step in that fucking playground. It's a real fucking thing, and it'll shred your fucking life if you're not ready for it.
Okay, you guys, because you are much more knowledgeable about this than I am, would I be accurate in saying that a podcast is not necessarily a live event? It's generally been edited for content, the pauses removed, and should theoretically be some of the best product that a podcaster has to offer. So, and a live event is what I do, but mostly because I can't edit, so I go live. And when I replay the show, when I put the show on social media, I call it a podcast. But is that kind of generally the difference between a podcast and going live, or is that clear as mud?
I think there's been an evolution of the word podcast. When we first started, it's just audio. And then it went to, video. YouTube is a podcast. Now you can be a podcaster or a YouTuber. There's really no definitive source for podcasting. Really the people that make up what podcasting is the advertisers that are going to advertise on it. They're the ones that actually say, well, this is what it is this year, because it's been vidcast, vodcast, podcast, pisscast. I mean, you name it, they've named it. So I don't really know if there's a definitive measurement on what a podcast is. You know, Rocky?
Dude, it's so weird because I was literally on my production website. It's Monster Productions. And dude, I was working. I had that debate fucking today with myself and I. I have conversations with me all the fucking time. It's kind of interesting shit. I should record this shit.
You can't talk to yourself. Who can you talk to?
Seriously, but no, it's on my website. I used, and honest to God, it's funny you bring it up because I'm using the definition podcast, but I changed it today and I put podcast/vidcast because old schoolers generalize it. You can use the word podcast with me, and it's just kind of like if you ask an Italian, where you're from, they just, you automatically know, right? Wait, what are we talking about?
Podcasts.
I know. I started
versus what the definition is.
Oh yeah. So the old schoolers, we're okay with the generalization of it. We're okay. Like if somebody comes up to me and says they do a podcast, the chances are is I'm gonna just assume they're doing video. I'm just gonna do it. But new agers are using the word vidcast, videocast, and honestly, like on the marketing side of things, you have to use that fucking language because when people are doing searches, they're going to search in a videocast or vidcast or a video podcast. So you always have to make sure that definition and terminology is in there, even though it's not really, we're lazy not using it.
So I think,
and as far as us doing it ahead of time, I would say that's the case.
What do you like better, Jeremy?
Sure,
do you like doing post-production? Do you like doing pre-records better, or do you like doing live better?
I love doing live better. But the truth is anymore, I get on, I do my podcast. I might mute out a cough and then I'll hit, my compressor. I'll hit the crystallizer. I'll hit I'll crush the headroom in it and then pretty much hit render and then save. Now you go back to 2016 and I would spend hours sitting there but it just hours getting ready. And then I'd be so happy at the end. And I would be like, only 24 people listen to this. And I'd be so pissed because I was one of those guys that thought I was really something and that I was going to get millions of listeners. And it just doesn't work like that.
So let me ask you something. So there's a big conflict right now that I have because one of the things that I do is I do a lot of video editing. People get shocked when I say this. I do use AI at a very minimum basis, right? Sometimes if I have a large file of a big fucking show and I don't want to sit there and go through every second of the fucking show, I'll put it in AI software or two of them and I'll have it go grab certain segments, right? But that's the extent of it. What the fuck, dude? That's twice now. I forgot what I was talking about.
It's something in the air, man.
Editing.
Yeah. We're going to edit.
So when you over edit, and this is a problem with these AI fucking programs, and people listen to this, man. So when Jeremy was talking about, he would sit there and spend hours doing the post. Sometimes when you over fucking work your shit, you feel like you're watching a bad Japanese fucking movie, because there's certain skips. There's certain skips in the audio whenever you're taking the ums and ahs out, while they're also taking that video out as well. And one of the things, like I was talking to Chad Prather the other day, and I was explaining to him how I do it, because I chop and block videos, man, because AI can't determine emotion. So I'm looking for the emotional content, not the statistical content, because everybody's talking about the statistical. If I did something during somebody who hires me and I'm editing their shit, and I'm chopping it up, even though I'm not really fucking switching shit around, there could be that small fucking case of speculation that because I chopped some shit out or a lazy word out somewhere in there and you saw that glitch, it could look like that video or audio was manipulated. And in today's day and age, the big issues we have is the manipulation of audio and video. And so I always want to make sure that there's no, and it's easier for people to watch, even with the mistakes, even with the ums and the ahs, unless you're not fucking over obsessed with the shit, right? Naturalism is good when it comes to podcasting, because if you over edit your shit, nobody's fucking perfect, man. People want to hear you talk about your imperfections so they feel fucking normal. They don't want to hear how fucking perfect your shit show is. You know what I'm saying?
You brought up something that when I do a show, especially with guys like you who are sharp or somebody who's new, there's a ton of questions that I have over here, and I want to make sure that I get certain things into the show. Doing my show prep. Some people, show prep, fuck it. If I don't do show prep, I can't.
I'll just answer before you ask. Yeah, I work out. There you go.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. And I think it shows, even under the sweater. Look at this right here. This isn't working out. This isn't working out at all. This is just me being,
cool fucking shirt though, bro.
I'm bulbous. That's all there is to it. In our ossicles, we hear this cry of glory, bulbous. From the farthest sights of Lick Observatory.
Dude, that's another observation I have.
In a fleck of sewer water or the earlobe of an otter, every parent, son, and daughter is bulbous tonight. I can rhyme.
I learned a little bit. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no.
I learned a little bit from Doc Thompson. And Doc, he was always talking about being live. Like he was kind of like there in the beginning stages of it way back when he was with Gen Black. You guys are doing something with the February stuff.
That's dude, I understood that. You could have not addressed it, and I would have understood it.
That's it.
Right. So, I mean, and then the great Ron Phillips told me, and the thing is with Ron Phillips, he's one of the truly fucking good people in this industry. Even if you get on his bad side, he's still good to you. I've been there on both sides. And there's so few fucking people that are that way today. Yeah. But they both told me something, back in the day, Ron used to work at like an oldie station up in North Dakota when he was in the military.
Yeah,
he was like,
here's a radio puker, dude. So we got to make sure people know that shit. If you don't know what a radio puker is, he's one of those motherfuckers that, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this fucking drive-through motherfucking duck, with that super radio shit going on. You know what I'm saying? I just want to slap the shit.
Yeah. That was me. WING, Dayton, Ohio. You can give it the pop that rocks. WING. We'll be right back after this.
That's a radio puking right
there. I think he was drinking. I could be wrong. I don't want to get people thinking ill of him, but it may have been allegedly that he was drinking. And when he went to say the WLRX or whatever he said, he's like, and he like tried to catch himself. And he's like, holy shit, what did I just do? And then he was like, and he couldn't get it going. And he turned into a joke. And back then they sent letters. And anyways, he had people laughing across North Dakota from this oldie station when he was trying to say that and couldn't. And he's like, so make sure when you edit stuff, don't edit out things because you think they're bad, because it might just be the thing that other people love. So,
I'll tell you, sometimes what you think is your worst fucking show is your highest rated show. You'll sit there. I've done shows, dude, where I wasn't even prepared for it. And you just get into like, when you're not prepared for shows, you just go where it goes, right? Especially if it's live.
Right.
And dude, sometimes, Jeremy and Omi, when I go solo, I get in so much fucking trouble because there ain't nobody there to stop me. There ain't nobody to say, dude, you just went off the cliff, bro. You just went off there ain't nobody there to do that, bro. So I'm like fucking 3,000 feet dropping down, just getting in trouble with everything I'm saying. I forgot where I was fucking going. I forgot where I was going with that. Well, these late night shows are different, dude. Late night shows are different. It's been a while since I've done a fucking late night show.
They are. Hey, I want to go back, and I'm sure I've missed something, but I want to go back and at least do some social media with you guys. So if you're interested in the Jeremy Hanson podcast, folks, you can go right now.
He's looking at us. Look at him fucking look at us in that picture.
And he's pointing to his head because that means he's damn smart, not regular smart. Damn
okay, let me point this out. As long as we're talking podcasting, right?
Okay.
Right. So look at what Jeremy did, right? If you look, it's not just a graphic, right? There's thought put into this. So when you're looking at this graphic, what's the first thing that you just noticed, brother? You just noticed that he's pointing at his like thought.
Yeah.
Well, so when somebody does this to you, what are they doing? They're telling you to fucking think, right? They're telling you to fucking think. And then you just go look at his fucking, and then boom, right away, there's a podcast. So it's a podcast that's making you fucking think right there, just like that. So that's the instant fucking vision that people are going to get, because one thing that people go wrong is with their graphics is not giving the people the idea of what they're actually going into. And 70% of videos that are clicked are not clicked because of the title. It's clicked because of the fucking picture. So graphics are
the arrow in FedEx. Let me point this out too, which perhaps Mr. Hanson has not considered.
You're steering the thought process of people without them knowing you're steering the thought process of them.
He's pointing to his cabeza, who is Mark 1 Model 1 Brainulus. But look what's on that side too. He's pointing, if you continue, let me see if I can do it this way. Yeah, okay. He's pointing this way to all the stuff over here, which is his content. So he's pointing not just to his head, kids. He's pointing to all the stuff that he wants you to listen to, which is fairly cool. Then there's this Jeremy Hanson podcast. You can hear him on Apple. And now I didn't know all the places to go for you, Rocky.
Just for me right now, because that's all the old. So now that channel that you're on right there, it's actually the same spot. It's the same Spreaker channel for Stucci Media. So I have two versions of the ROCCI STUCCI, the old school and new school. So the old school, fuck, I got shows on there when I was doing shows with Donna Fiducia and Don Newen. We interviewed some of the fucking highest ranked officials in government. So all those shows are, and then there's shows of me that, I probably saying some incriminating shit. So, go figure it out. Go find one. You know what I'm saying?
Stucci Media?
Yep, right there. So now if you just click on the podcast link up there on top, right in the top center there, just click on that. Look at that stud. And then when that opens up, so that'll be, and I'll add your show here too, brother. So we got a podcast. That's the new thing that we're working on right now. And this is actually kind of within the scope of what we're talking about, is because I'm kind of full circle, man. And Jeremy and I talked about this. We were on the phone a few weeks ago, but for a long time, we were talking about just our journey and experience and bitterness. It's not bitterness. We're pissed off in a way, right? We're pissed off because we're sick and fucking tired of the disrespect. And we're just honorable fucking regular people that are fucking imperfect as shit. But we're not being, treated fairly, and we're not being treated equally. So coming full circle and having some of the experiences that I've had and I've seen, and I'll tell every motherfucker this right now, that criminals don't change just to clothes they wear do. That's the only fucking thing. And you're going to find more vindictive people in the world that they call normal civilization. You're going to find more vindictive, fucking narcissistic behavior there, because they have to pretend to be something that they're not. I come from a world where we just who the fuck we were, and we don't give a shit. And so what I want to do here with Stucci Media, and it's been a long process. Jeremy's been watching this shit. I've been going through a bunch of personal shit, and at the same time getting all this shit built. Don't even ask me how the fuck this shit got accomplished. But there needs to be a place, and I don't know how much I can do, right? I'm a one-man fucking show, but there needs to be a place where people that are looking for legitimate answers. I'm not about fucking keeping secrets about the trade. I'm about motherfuckers who have a dream and they have a wife and kids that they want to impress and make real proud of them. And they want to do something other than just be that fucking miserable fucking guy doing his 9 to 5. And I don't have a ton I can offer, but I have a platform and I can work with people as much as I can, right? As much as I can. I got to be super clear. Some people start thinking I'm their personal fucking agent and shit. But I just think that a lot of people don't make it because they get consumed. They get consumed by everybody else's because they want to learn. And so they have all these people, these pseudo experts that are fucking guiding them in a lot of shit. Or they have talents. And so they get manipulated that big things are going to fucking happen and come with me, little bitch. And they fucking suck the life out of people for 2 years and all their fucking talent. And it's not the talent that makes the money. It's the fucking snake oil salesmen that make all the fucking money. So I just need a home to where we'll do some straight mafia shit to protect motherfuckers, man. If you have a dream, man, and you love what you do, man, we'll give you as much advice as we can. We'll tell you the roaches to stay away from. And let me tell you this, if you want to make money, you don't need to corporatize. You don't need to fucking corporatize. You don't need to, there's no right or wrong way. Get the numbers, get long watch times, and you'll make fucking money. You don't need to fucking get that contract from a corporation.
Oh, Jesus. Are we ever going to talk about that? Because I've got an ass load of questions. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back after this. I got Jeremy Hanson. I got ROCCI STUCCI. This is going to be a great show.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Come listen to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. Live on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central, and 8 p.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Rumble channel, SHR Media YouTube channel, X, Twitch, Spreaker, and wherever great conservative podcasts are found. BZ, your conservative Sherpa. guides you through the maelstrom of Democrat, leftist, and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Raised as a free-range child with dirt, stains, mud, and freedom, BZ broadcasts from North Idaho, comfortably surrounded by actual normal people. Jump into our plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room on rumble.com. Click on live chat to join. Now, with 37% more umbrage and 19% more bulbosity than previous shows, featuring delicious Liberty additives for the best in late-night Conservatarian talk radio. BZ reminds you that with great beard comes great responsibility. No chinchillas were harmed, embarrassed, fat-shamed, or the focus of any sarcasm whatsoever in the making of this ad.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here's Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Hey fellas, are you mission ready? Coming in November to SHR Media. By way of Big E Jackson, you need to check out Mission Ready Men. It's a show that equips you to navigate our society's challenges from a biblical perspective with courage and conviction. Tune into Mission Ready Men as we examine our culture through the prism of biblical truths, teachings, and how to apply them in our daily lives. Prepare to step up, stand out, and step into your role as a man, as ordained by God. That's Mission Ready Men, hosted by Earl Jackson, coming this November on the SHR Media Network. And get mission ready.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. I'm BZ. You're in the saloon. The first half hour, done, gone. Get out of here. So thanks for being here tonight. I'm on a whole bunch of places that are streaming live right now. Facebook Live, X, Twitch, the SHR Media YouTube channel, the SHR Media YouTube Rumble channel. Almost forgot Rumble. And so thanks for being here. I got a couple of great guests. We're talking about podcasting, and the show basically is big podcasting. How fake is it? Well, we might have some answers to that. By the way, subscribe if you would, please, because the subscriptions get me either well, they used to get me a porcelain Dalmatian. Now they mostly get me vodka. And as per normal, your mileage may vary. Member FDIC batteries not included. No leak to basement, patent pending. I like short walks off a long pier, and I like dogs. So here is Jeremy Hanson and ROCCI STUCCI. And gentlemen, welcome Bacchus to the show. Did I even put this up? Here's ROCCI STUCCI's YouTube channel, also STUCCI Media. You can see a ton of stuff here. There's a ton of content that you need to get in and peruse. Not go to Peru, but peruse, if you would please. Please know the difference. Discern
Look
the
at that
difference.
sexy son of a bitch. I can't stop staring at him right now.
I know.
The fuck?
There he is. Oh, wait a minute. Did you mean this guy?
Oh, well, that's my soul. What's wrong with me?
Sorry, man. I just wanted to tell you I'm coming from the 417 and I'm about as true as the top podcasters, man.
Well, so let me ask you guys this. What do you think is more
You threw a zip code out.
I did. Yeah, the 417, man.
Dude, okay, can I tell you guys something? I just fucking learned like 4 years ago that those were zip codes, man. I'm from the 2-1. I never knew all these years, even in high school, man. I would even sing this shit. I didn't even know what the numbers were. I just sang it. You know what I mean? I just learned that. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Okay. That's fun.
I had to do that because I know where BZ's going with this. And he's right fucking on. He's spot on. So I wanted to pretend to be something that I'm not, which you will find in about the top 20% of all fucking podcasts. When you work really hard, BZ and I were talking about this, and you do all the right things, and some fucking cocksucker comes and takes it, all your hard work goes away. So it gives you this feeling of Rocky was touching on it earlier. But I don't know what the right word is other than fucking rage for working that hard and having it stolen from you. And usually it's because you've been working so hard and you've been investing money so much in your show and your equipment and meeting people and getting on shows and
fucking pissing the wife
family
off
issues.
all the fucking time.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Like BZ, and I know you know this, like when the microphone comes to the house and you have to answer to the wife for it. Have you ever went through that?
Oh, wait. You're opening up a door that I think Rocky and I spoke about before the show, and we were talking about you, Jeremy, as a matter of fact, the equipment and microphone whores that we are, and hoarders, so to speak.
Yeah, we called you a microphone whore, Jeremy.
Yeah.
I am.
I know, bro. Dude, that's so hot, bro. That's so fucking hot, dude.
But a lot of people don't realize that, for example, this thing right here, that's $500.
Yep.
An arm over here, if you like arms, nice arms.
You're getting a good arm. Guarantee you're getting a good arm.
$1,200 for whatever the hell this is.
Wow, that's an expensive arm.
Lumina?
Yeah, that's still expensive as shit, bro. I mean, I'll pass out at 600, but 1,200? Holy shit.
Yeah, well.
I don't know how to explain that shit to the wife.
Yeah. Well, we are all, well, and I wish I'd uploaded, I sent a copy of some of the microphones that I own.
And gentlemen, by the way, new podcasters,
yeah,
that's not joking. That's real fucking pain. So when we mention the wives, that comes with the fucking package. So, put that in your fucking business plan too.
Oh, yeah, listen.
For sure.
When I first went to SHR, they had great content, a couple of great guys, Sean Lewis and Clint, Sackhead Clint, and ton of fun, joviality, and their sound was shit. It's like walking into a movie and then you look at the screen and there's either no music or some music or none at all, and the sound is crap. And you're not gonna recommend that movie.
Dude, sometimes I have miniature nervous breakdowns when I'm doing a live show and I'm having sound issues. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I have, I'm Italian, dude. I get a little fucking fired up, and because I don't understand shit sometimes how it could be so perfect. And then you just hit like go live and something in your system just decides I'm going to be a pain in the ass today. I hate that shit because, we're self-producers, right?
Yes.
We're self-producers. So we have this thing the show needs to move. It needs your most important time of any fucking show is going to be your first 2 minutes of the program. So, you having audio issues, bye. You're not throwing out content, bye. You're not talking or entertaining, bye. And you're not going to get some of those people back. Some of those people are going to be the first time people ever come into your fucking show. They're going to be like, this is a mess. The importance of audio quality. And you bring up Ron Phillips. That dude used to irritate the shit out of me so much when it came to when I would be doing audio editing or shit like that, because he was so particular, right? He had such a high standard that it is like apparent to where he'll drive you to he was a fucking drill instructor, you know, and I never put this shit together in my fucking head when all this shit was happening, right? Like he was pushing me to that brink to where I just got so annoyed that I didn't want to hear his shit no more. I was done, right? So you just got the shit right. And he perfected me. Now I piss other people off that are here's, if you want to pretend to be big league, you got to do big league fucking shit. And audio and video quality, figure your shit out, because that's going to be the two things right there where you're going to lose people if you don't have that shit figured out.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys, I think I know what the answer is going to be from Jeremy, but I want to find out from both of you. What's the most important thing right now? Do an audio podcast or video podcast?
Ooh, Jeremy.
100% audio podcast.
Okay. And that's because
here's the thing. It takes both. Okay. I can't really say audio podcast because the way that I do it, and I think that I'm doing it the right way, for me, for sure, I know I am, my bread and butter, my ham, my meat on the table, that is the audio podcasting. But to get there, I need to use video shorts, and I need a lot of the, you know, the visual aids that are out there for people to come to my audio. Like I truly believe that my success in December, because keep in mind, there for a long time, I just got ripped down the boards. I had nothing. I decided to start something back up in December. I go completely just for business. And some of the jackholes messaged me because I put a little visual thing out there. The Jeremy HANSON podcast is coming back. And they just, a whole bunch of them flooded me. And then it was on a ROCCI's post that he put up on for me. It said 578 shares. And it was like during that time, boom, I got really big. And I couldn't have done it without the short video. I couldn't have done it without the static image. But I think for me, it's too much. I'm not smart enough to keep a video going and edit it and make it good where it needs to be. Like he just said, if you're going to be a big dog, you better be a big dog. Otherwise, you are going to get found out. In audio, I kind of am a big dog. It's a little bit easier for me to be a big dog in audio. So, but some people are video centric. Like they just know how to do it. And I'm not one of those people. So to answer that question, for me, audio podcasting is where it's at. It's got a little bit higher CPM. It's a little bit easier to make money because there's some tips and tricks. And if you want, we can get into that. But what do you think, Rocky?
Dude, I'm sitting here trying to find an area of what you're talking about that I could add, right? That I could add to. That was actually a really good fucking answer, because here's the difference between audio and video. And so there would be times where my shows, my video, I've never been big on videos. I'm not the guy that people can sit there and stare at. I'm not sexy like a Chap Prather. You know what I'm saying? So you got to know a personality, and I'm a different type of host. But what I did get was a fuck ton of downloads all the time, right? Why is that, right? Because truck drivers can't watch fucking videos, right?
Bingo.
And you have a whole motherfucking demographic of half of a country, probably 30% of this country work in a vehicle, and they listen to shit while they drive. And that's what I targeted. And so people are like, well, dude, how did you rank 11th in entertainment news? And it's like, I would get 30 views on my fucking videos. So it's like, I'm not ranking there. I'm ranking through my audio, because that's where your advertisers are going. They're going to your audio. They're not going to your video, because I don't give a fuck. People come up to me all the time, and I'll say it the way I'm saying it. I don't care how many clicks you have on your videos, because here, if you're going to sit there and try to sell that to an advertiser, let me tell you the next question the advertiser is going to ask. What's your average watch time, right? Is it 3-second clickouts? Because that's 98% of video clicks is the 3-second, oops, I didn't even mean to fucking be here. Let me click out. That's what that was. And then you'll start seeing that the next section would be the under 30 seconds is going to be the next section of clickouts. The amount of people that actually watch the full video is about 2%. So advertisers don't give a fuck about Facebook views. They don't get, YouTube's a little bit different because you actually have more genuine people searching for that content. That's the difference between YouTube and Facebook. Facebook, you run into it. YouTube, you search for it. So dude, I agree, bro. I think that was a perfect assessment. Audio is 100%. If you want to make money, that is where you really super fucking focus. But you have to understand the video because you ain't fucking special and you need to promote. You need to learn marketing and you need to learn how to go after fucking niches, not just what the fuck ever and thinking that your 8 fucking friends on Facebook are going to fucking make you famous. You have to attack new audiences.
Plus, I'm gonna throw this in there just because BZ and I have talked about this before, but if you're an upcoming podcaster and you want to make some money and you want to gain some things, you have to understand podcasting for what it is. The amount of time that's listened to your podcast is way more important than the amount of downloads you get, because downloads can be faked, okay? But the time listened to the downloads can't be. So on my show, I average 23 minutes and 46 seconds. That's what my show lasts. I have
how long is your show?
About 23 minutes, 23 to 26 minutes. My average retention rate is 8 minutes and 20 seconds. That's really fucking
That's
good.
really fucking good. People are like 8 minutes. People are only watching 8 minutes. Well, let me see you do better than 8 minutes. Let me see you do 8 minutes, right? I mean, it's like fucking Mark Levin. He probably is challenged with those kind of numbers. Even the best, even the Rush Limbaughs were probably the only ones that had complete fucking listen throughs. You know what I'm saying? Or Joe Rogan's. They have complete listen throughs. That's why they make the fucking money. And Jeremy, that was the best fucking thing you could have said, is that the value comes in the amount of time people are watching, right? That is so. If you look at the numbers, like on your podcast, you'll see 2 different types of bars that are numbers, right? One is going to be your payout, but you'll notice that sometimes you're getting paid out more, but you have less fucking clicks, but you have longer fucking listen times. And that's why your payout is higher on less fucking clicks. Great advice, bro.
So let's go into that. Exactly, like Clay and Buck. Okay, I'm not a fan. I don't listen. Actually, BZ is probably one of a handful of political shows that I watch, and BZ's like everything show, and I love watching it because he always the fuck sticks and that stuff. It makes me laugh. It makes me feel, come on.
Is that what? Did you say it makes you come a lot?
I think he did.
Yeah, it could do that too.
Yeah,
I felt that, even if you didn't say it, bro.
Well, Clay and Buck have 3-hour show now, 2-hour show. It's something like that. But what they've done, because their listener retention is so low, their podcasts come out and they might have 8 podcasts a day, and they're broke down into 14, 12-minute segments. Mm-hmm. And the reason that they do that is they front load the ads. They say ad free. Why? Because they take out what they're talking ads, and then they put ad insertion in the beginning, so they get 2, 3, 4 ads in the beginning, and then you hear 12 minutes and they went up to 4 minutes of listen time on this podcast, and then they go to the next one. It's the same show, just shortened up. So
it's another way. It's kind of like when you watch these live shows, a very important part. It's the trifecta effect, right? You're trying to go for the comments, you're trying to go for the likes, and you're trying to go for the shares. If you're working on getting a video to go viral, you need to be consistent on the trifecta, and that's how the algorithms start working. What were you just talking about, Jeremy?
I was talking about how they shorten it up to get the ads in there, and then they say,
that's a way to kind of cush it, right? So they could just have played one broadcast and got that one listen of those few fucking clips at the beginning. But so now you'll see lots of times when you go into the clickbait kind of fucking viral sites, you'll go to an article, but it takes you fucking 6 fucking clicks to get, like the pictures. You got to click to the next fucking article. So what they're doing is that they're getting clicks to their website. So websites are different. So they're getting the clicks now on these websites. So now when they're going to go sit down with their data as a website, they're going to start looking at that data as the fucking clicks. So one person just represented 6 clicks when that one person normally would have represented 1.
Okay, let me dinger at here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here, I'll do it for you. Okay. Go ahead. Hit it, Jeremy. Hit it. Hit the dinger.
Ding. Ding.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So let me see if I got this right. If you, in the process of a podcast, not live, but you're listening to a podcast, because even on Rumble, when I go back and listen to my show, I hear front loaded, ad, okay, skip, ad, okay, skip. So the cool thing is that the people that make that stuff get to front load all the ads before you even get to the content.
It's the only ad that's guaranteed to be listened to.
Yeah, it's like, hey, winner. And fuck, who did that to my thumb? Jesus, never look at that. And so you front load all the ads, and then they count the ads as the total time watched for
the
that
payout.
podcast.
The payout. So the longer you watch, that means the more potential that individual has to see advertising. Because so you have the pre-roll, you have the mid-roll, and the post-roll. And so a typical podcast do the pre, mid, and post. They kind of insert it. Some people go way more aggressive than that. Probably like those guys you're talking about. So this is why the watch time is so important, because the longer you watch, the more potential as a targeted customer you have. Because podcasts and TV and the Super Bowl and the World fucking Series, none of that is really made for what it's intended to be made for. All of this shit that we do is all made for fucking marketing. It's all made for fucking advertising. The Super Bowl is not about a fucking football game. The Super Bowl is about all the orgies that they have a week before the game with all the fucking sponsors that put in millions of dollars a week beforehand. This is firsthand information. This is real life fucking shit.
100%.
Another issue that we have within this industry is the pay-per-click. And I'm going to tell you the part that really turned my stomach and made me realize that
Pay-per-click. Okay. Explain that, Lucy, because I'm not
where people are paying, where people are posting things and they're paying for views. I'm sorry, pay-per-click is not the wrong term, because I have a service pay-per-click, and that's actually an advertisement marketing service.
Okay.
They're paying for views, or they're paying for follows.
Okay.
So this is what's happening.
I think they call black hat now, Rocky.
Yes. Yeah. Influencers. There's this whole new type of industry of influencers. They're corporate influencers, where they're literally hired by corporations to sell their products. So they're not people that are in this because of passion. They're in this for marketing and money. So they don't give a fuck what they sell. What they're doing, and this is real shit. So what they're doing is that a lot of these people, they make pretty good money. And so they go make a video, and then they go to this little fucking site, and then they pay fucking $25 fucking dollars. And that $25 is going to get them an instant 2,500 views right off the bat on their fucking shit. Right. And so this is what they're doing. And some of these people, like I know radio people, and I almost have said his fucking name, but he went right off the bat and bought 500,000 Twitter followers when he started his radio show, to instantly give people the perception that he was this big fucking guy, had this big fucking following, right? So they're creating this false perception. But now, as a pseudo influencer, what they're doing is that they're going and they're buying the clicks that the advertisers are using to determination advertisement costs. So now these advertisers are going to go to this influencer that is paying for their clicks, that really only have like 15 motherfuckers looking at their shit, but they make it look like they got fucking 50,000, and they go use that to sell it to advertisers. And so the advertisers start paying them to sell their shit, and they're not getting the actual clicks that the advertisers were depending on them to get the fucking sales. So that breaks a system. That breaks a system within the operation, and that breaks the fucking matrix, right? So that toxifies our fucking industry, because then it creates a distrust. And then we have this fucking, now, award ceremonies, same fucking thing. I've been part of this shit. Award ceremonies for podcasters is nothing but a fucking email grab, right? It's a data grab. It has nothing to do with a fucking award. This is what they do. They're like, this is what we do. We're going to sit here and we're going to come up with 60 fucking different awards, all these really cool fucking names, right? And then we're going to go tell everybody that they're nominated, or you can nominate people. So all of a sudden you have fucking 10,000, 15,000, fucking 100,000 people, no bullshit, that all want to win this award, because awards are cool, right? We want to put it behind us when we do our podcast, because it's all about perception, not about reality. So they go, and these award companies say like, okay, now click this link, and now people can go vote for you. Anybody who fucking votes has to fucking submit their email, right? But it gets even better, because mommy and daddy can go on there, and for an extra fucking $200 fucking dollars, they can buy an extra 5,000 fucking votes. You know, so you can start buying extra fucking votes at an award ceremony. And then these fucking podcasters go that they paid for their shit. They paid for that fucking award, and they go up on stage and receive it like they actually earned the motherfucker. And it's real. It's like, dude, you are such a fucking narcissist that you actually lie to yourself so much that you bought the shit, but you're accepting it like it's real and you're posting about it like you're some great fucking person. And that's what people with integrity in this industry have to compete with. And when I say that, I'm being nice about it because those people are dangerous as fuck. They're dangerous as fuck because they will come and fucking soak you for every fucking thing you got. And the second one thing goes awry, nowhere to be found.
Sooner or later, that's got to bite you in the ass in terms of your advertiser finally realizes that all these clicks and visits that they're allegedly getting, don't they? In other words, if you're an advertiser, you've got somebody on a podcast or vidcast who said, I have these numbers. Here are my analytics right here. Boom.
Right.
And
so,
then
if you went up to Jeremy Hansen or ROCCI STUCCI or somebody at a higher level in the fucking industry and you started throwing conversations out like that, we'll have responses, right? We will have fucking questions because we're not that gullible to where I don't give a fuck what you say, right? And when we go to what advertisers are looking for, most people don't even realize what advertisers are looking for. So they sit there and they think that all the social media stuff is going to be what it takes. And it just fucking happens.
But doesn't that bite? Doesn't the advertiser sooner or later have to wake up and that bites the podcaster in the ass?
Well, it does.
It
makes it harder for people like Jeremy. Right. Like people like Jeremy that go out there and they put in the fucking work. They self-teach themselves the shit they need to learn. Right. So they self-teach themselves how to make those fucking reels, how to perfect their fucking audio. They don't sit there and wait for a fucking mommy or daddy to show up and fucking fix everything for them. Right. They fucking learn they master their fucking craft. Why do you think I'm able to have the company that I have right now and the media company that I have? Why can I go to a red fucking carpet and either work the camera or work the fucking microphone? Why can I go to a celebrity's fucking softball game and be the broadcaster and the announcer or player at the same fucking time? I mastered my fucking craft, right? And that craft allowed me to get into positions that created fucking opportunities. Don't pretend to master a craft because sooner or later you're going to be called to the fucking carpet and you're going to have expectations. We know mutual people within our circles that talked a lot of shit and people depended on that shit that they talked. And when they actually were expected to fucking produce, they realized that they were full of shit as well. Right. And there again, that makes people like us. There was a time where I would be able to go get a check for $150,000 just to say somebody's name on a show. Now there's such a distrust that these companies now go through advertisement agencies because the agencies pre-vet all the people underneath that, right? And you know, all the numbers, like Jeremy knows the numbers they're looking for. When Jeremy can fucking contact a sponsor tomorrow, dude, he'll get shit. The dude has it figured out, right? Why does he have it figured out? Because he mastered his fucking craft. That's how you do it. Sponsorship is important. But he knows that when I'm Jeremy Hansen going to go to a sponsor, I know what they're going to ask for. I know what kind of data they're going to look for. And I know they don't give a fuck about these numbers, but these are the numbers that they're going to care about. And that's how I'm going to get my sponsorship. And that's how Jeremy does it.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about podcasts versus terrestrial radio. What's the future for each? Do they have a future? What is their future? And then I also want to get into, I have just a ton of stuff to talk about. I'm BZ. That's Jeremy Hansen and ROCCI STUCCI. We'll be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Join me right here on the SHR Media Network every Monday and Friday, 12 on the Pacific, 3 on the East Coast. On this show, we'll discuss news, politics, the government, how cranky we are about the government, and more. If you want to hear hard talk, good interviews, sarcasm, bad jokes, and oh God, that really is me in a nutshell. Either way, check me out right here on the Edge of Liberty every Monday and Friday, 12 Pacific, 3 on the East, on the SHR Media Network.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional, but it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? Then check out Seven Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing, they're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful. From timeless messages to modern designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with Seven Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com. 7armors.com. Faithful, vigilant, steadfast, passion.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. I'm back. I'm BZ. This is ROCCI STUCCI.
How you doing? You know what I mean?
This was an empty chair, which is now full of nothing but Jeremy Hanson, one each. Thanks to everybody that's listening live. I greatly appreciate everybody being here.
I want a name like Squatch Zone, man. I want a name like that. That's a cool fucking name.
This is okay. It's funny you should mention that. Not funny, haha, but funny, bizarre, because that guy is the guy who basically winkled up my entire studio right here, built the computer that's over there, hooked up all this stuff over here, attached my board, he'll look at the board. There's what movie is that from? Come on. He'll see the big board. Okay, moving right along. Anyway, that's Alan Thomas. What?
Yeah.
That's just kind of funny. Okay.
I didn't grab it.
He says, moving on.
That's right. Come on, we're moving on here. Anyway, we're going to talk about terrestrial radio. I remember I used to religiously listen to the Hugh Hewitt show. And there was a dude on named Dwayne Patterson, and he was his producer. Dwayne lives in Southern California, and he's producing Hugh's show in Washington. So Hugh leaves. He goes to D.C., and then Larry Elder comes on. I think Larry Elder is a smarter cookie than Hugh Hewitt was, but I still listen to Dwayne Patterson. And Dwayne Patterson I retired in 2016. In 2017, we went to go see the Hugh Hewitt show at the, whatever the hell it was, anniversary of Disneyland. And even back then, Dwayne Patterson, terrestrial radio is dying. It's dying. It is absolutely moribund right now. Well, that was then in 2017. So 8 years later, is it any different? What do you guys think? And please weigh in on, hey, terrestrial radio, what do they have? Where are they going? Are they going anywhere? And it also makes me wonder, okay, all right, BZ, stop now. Is this why that arsehole, George Soros, swooped in under the FCC, under Biden, under Joe Vegetable, purchased 200 radio stations because he knew that he could get them for a song? Now, this is the same fuckstick that bankrupted the Bank of England in the UK. But he's obviously smart, or he wouldn't be a billionaire. And is that a precursor of, or an indicator, anything at all about terrestrial radio? Is it done? Will it see a resurgence? Generally in my life, I found out that everything sooner or later, give it enough time, is cyclical. So what do you guys think about terrestrial radio versus podcasting, vidcasting, all that?
Hanson.
I got this one.
I knew it.
I think that you're right. I think it is cyclical. I think that AM and FM are always going to have a spot, simply because there's power in locality. So if you're local, there's always going to be local stations. You're watching it happen right now. Fox News, NBC News, CBS, ABC. they're all down the shitter right now. Nobody's watching national news. However, you don't see that at the 10 o'clock local news. You see those numbers staying steady. But when I actually, BZU and Rocky both, I found you guys by flipping through my phone. Okay. I found Rocky first. This is way back in the day. I got on this station and you could barely hear him because it was terrible audio. It was like Blog Talk Radio or something.
Yeah.
And it was
this
guy named the fucking Meatball that was playing heavy metal music. And he was talking about Bigfoot and Egypt and conspiracy government theories all in the same show. I'm like, this is fucking cool. Yeah. I mean, but now his show has evolved into this squeaky clean, like you could throw it on any radio station. And the same with you. It's just in different ways. Like your bumpers are different. So I think that AM, FM radio, I think there's always going to be a spot for them. I think it's changing. And I think you're watching the demographic of who listens to it. So you have to look at them and say, okay, well, how are these people consuming media? And because of the cell phone, and I'm not saying that it's good, but everybody has this son of a bitch with them 24 hours a day. You have to be on something that's on your phone. And if you notice, there was a push for a while, like listen to WJJO 94.1 on, and it had this .fm after it. And that's kind of went away. So I do think that it's going to have its place, but I think that the demographics that listen to it, something's going to have to happen to change it back to make it interesting for them.
Well, yeah, the difference is that when you get on your phone to listen to a podcast, your choice is in the millions. You know what I'm saying? It's literally in the fucking millions. But when you get in your car to run to fucking Walmart, it's what your dial's on, right? So there's a higher probability or a higher guarantee that people are going to listen what's on terrestrial. And that's why, like in the advertisement arena, you're going to pay way more fucking money. Like if I went to a local radio station and I said, man, I got an event coming up, I need to fucking push an ads out, and you're going to pay way more fucking money because there's going to be a higher probability that while people are driving to work or driving home in rush hour, they're going to hear that fucking commercial. I'm talking to a WBAP right now in Dallas about doing a Saturday show. And, that situation, just like at the Blaze, you pay to play. Right. So you're paying $150,000, but you're also hitting an audience of 1.4 million people, And so when people hear that, well, you pay $150,000 for a year. Yeah, that comes with the producer and it comes with 1.4 million people. So, if you get to that point and you know what you're doing, you're making fucking money. I know people that make $4 million a year selling t-shirts because they paid $150,000 a year. And they're making 4 million t-shirts.
Most people don't know that, Rocky. They think that when you get on the station, that the station's paying you big money. Let's reset that. So when people figure out the podcasting world, it's opposite of that. See, on a radio station, even a local podunk, 93.7 QLA, out in the sticks, it's $400 an hour. You have to pay them $400 an hour. Then you have to go get sponsors to pay for that $400 an hour and make a living. Is that not the way that it works?
That's the way it works. Yeah, for even the smaller stations that don't even have a reach are charging $1,000 a fucking episode. It's like, wow, okay, wow. You can go to Dallas and fucking, you know what I'm saying? They do it. It's an accommodation because one of the big things with Mojo was iHeartRadio. That was one of the big things back then, was to be able to, because Mojo 50 was one of the only digital networks that actually had a station on iHeartRadio, which was a big fucking deal. And that had a lot to do with the Blaze and all that, Doc Thompson and shit. But it was a credibility thing for us, right? So it was cool to be able to because I will say this, man, perception is everything. And how you sell yourself, your graphics, people seeing your distribution, they're seeing your activity, everything is perception. And so when you disappear for a few days or take a week off, it hurts you. So being able to put a label on something like that, it gives it a commercial value, right? The commercial, but not the podcast value, gave it a commercial value. And that's what the terrestrial does. So yeah, it's stuck, man. It's a guaranteed source of listening, and we always will depend on an antenna one way or the other. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, it's still a forced way of force feeding people advertisement, and you are guaranteed almost or think about the choices that you have on the dial compared to going on the phone. And that's why there's such a difference in marketing.
I mean, how many cars don't even have FM in them?
See that bingo, that I was just going to ask that because you and I, Jeremy, spoke about that last week. And I didn't know. I should have at least begun to suss that out. Maybe Tesla's, because they're attempting to be the archetype of technology these days. But apparently cars carrying radios now, instead of paywalled audio content, are they becoming the thing? So is this the end of the cycle that we're going to have to see, and we're going to have to get there?
I think we're seeing a battle. I think we're seeing a battle between, kind of like what we've seen between Facebook and TikTok, right? Because this had nothing to fucking do with TikTok and privacy, because Facebook takes the exact same fucking information TikTok takes, right? Always has. But we just are not intelligent enough into society to actually say, let's see the data. We have this grab for money right now, this big competition. And so you have these internet companies that are trying to move in any way they can, whether they're making contracts with auto dealerships, whether they're making contracts with like headphone companies, cell phone companies, to where there's something in that fucking vehicle that they can attach their shit because they want their advertisers to be heard, not the fucking terrestrial ones. So, and then you have the people on the dial that they're trying to do what they can and try to create fucking laws and advertisement types of shit to prevent certain people to come into the terrestrial arena. It's a weird fucking, I guess the more you think about it, the more kind of a weird matrix it is.
Okay, but when do the addendums end? And what I mean by that is auto manufacturers discovered about a year ago, because, for example, BMW used to charge you'd buy a BMW, and then there would be content in the BMW that all of a sudden you discovered, if the dealership didn't already tell you, oh, you want heated seats? Well, that's a subscription program.
100%.
Oh,
there it is.
You want the vibrating seat. Well, it's in there, but you can't get to it. It's going to cost you $150 a year just for that. And how many addendums are people going to put up with?
How many do we already do now?
Yes, exactly. What's the threshold? Has anybody tried to think, there's got to be a tipping point when everybody stops at the precipice, looks down, and says, "Oh,
I don't pay for a subscription to go to 93.7 every morning when I'm going to the
exactly
Walmart to look at people."
Pretty soon, the proverbial John Cleese in Silverado is going to say, my jurisdiction ends here today.
But see, here's me as a marketer. The first place I'm going to is terrestrial before I go internet.
Yeah, really?
For local events, absolutely. Because as marketing, if I'm going to use Facebook, now I do it and we'll do it and we will absolutely do it. But now if I'm going to super target market an area and I need to be very specific on my demographic, I'm not trying to reach people in fucking Washington State, right? So the best way for me to reach the demographics locally would be through a terrestrial dial, because there's going to be a higher probability of the amount of people locally that'll hear that than the 3 people that'll hear it if I did a Facebook fucking ad and try to create an event and somebody might just scroll by it, right? If you use the right tag and they're in a search. So it has its benefits, dude. Especially if you do conventions, if you do a lot of events where there's speakers, if you do a lot of the cost stuff, card signing events. Couple of those fucking at the right time, like midnight, there's a certain specific audience of people that listen at midnight. So if you're going to advertise like dildos, you're going to advertise them at 1 a.m. You ain't going to advertise them on Sunday afternoon at 3. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's true. Art Bell was a genius.
Yep.
Screwed up. But man, if there was a guy that had nighttime locked in, it was Art Bell.
Yeah, he was the king of midnight, bro.
Absolutely. And then let me ask you this. If there was a time when all these AM programs, Armstrong and Getty, blah, 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 and this guy, they all want to be franchised. They all want to go all around the universe in the U.S. And so local radio was dying because nobody wants to be on local radio.
Yeah, they all want to be syndicated.
is that, yeah, they all, and they're pushing for it. There were tons of people that started a little show in Nevada, then went to Sacramento, then went
From a
to
terrestrial
LA.
perspective, what do you think, Hanson? From a terrestrial perspective, in the entire industry itself, what do you think percentage of people actually get nationally syndicated at a terrestrial dial? Probably like 0.1%.
If it's even that high.
Because just think of conservative national TV hosts. There's about 4 of them that are like high level syndicated.
I have the permission to tell this story, so I'm going to tell it about terrestrial, just so you can know the fucking shenanery that went on there before podcasting. There's a very famous conservative talk show host in New York.
Shenanery. I'm stealing it.
Go for it.
Thanks.
Anyways, a friend of mine named Jim Lockwood talked with this guy, and they set up this thing where he won this thing with a chance to go operate his show for one day. He paid that guy $10,000 to sit in his show for one night, thinking that he was going to get all of this guy's viewers coming back to his show, and he ended up with like 84, 85 people that came from his show over to that. So, and really, it was just him paying the 10 grand. He didn't win anything. It was, so
now
this
I know who he. Oh, dude, I'm like, I know that fucking name, dude. It just re-registered.
The blind attorney. Yeah.
Yes.
And
attorney.
So, I mean, this stuff has been going on literally since the beginning of time, like Nielsen ratings. And I hate how you always hear, well, we call the people, or we send them letters, or we email them. I have never gotten an email. I have never gotten a phone call. I have never gotten anything from Nielsen. So are Nielsen numbers real? Well, I'll say it. They'll probably sue me, but fuck them. They ain't real. They're about as real as the Cinderella living next door. That's how real they are.
I wish he was, though.
See, you and I talked about that because there was a time when I was at KFBK, you lived and died by what they called the book, which was the ARB, Arbitron ratings. And so there would be promo times when the book was about to come out that the radio stations, AM, FM, would just pump promos like crazy because the book is coming out. Well, the book was, they would actually send you information. They'd solicit you and say, when do you listen to this? When do you listen to that? And it was some kind of a physical, tangible thing that you got. And then they compiled your numbers from the book, because the book was the ultimate source of, that's how you're going to make your revenue for the next 2 quarters, as a matter of fact. And if your ratings suck in the book, you ain't going to make bank.
Yep.
Now, like you said, Nielsen, okay, how do you know?
Yeah. So
who did they send it to? Did they contact you? How does that work? Do you guys know?
I'll tell you this. I tell you what I really pay attention to is like Hanson and people that are ranking in the podcast, because there's 3 or 4 different locations that you can go look at numbers, but iTunes, dude, is pretty fucking solid with accuracy and consistency. When people start ranking with their podcast on places like iTunes, that gets my attention. I don't know for sure why, but because we're in a different arena, and if you're ranking, that means you're being searched, right? And so there's an interest. There's something brewing, because there are 3 million other motherfuckers doing exactly what you're doing, and that's my whole argument with AI. And that's why I always tell people, be super careful. I spend more time doing what I do to not use AI as much, because I don't want to use the same language 14 million other fucking people are using, right? So you're not really doing anything different, because you're allowing the same computer that's running every other fucking system to speak the same language it's speaking for everybody else. Unless you train your AI to talk differently, it's going to speak and use very specific words that Google's looking for, and knowing that that's an AI fucking article, and it's going to bury your shit. Yeah, man. So I don't even know where I was going with that shit.
Highest you ever run, Rocky?
Oh, okay.
I was 11 in the nation for entertainment news.
In the news, what were you world for that?
In the world, I was 18 in the world.
18th. Okay, so the highest I've ever gotten is 44, and I had to work my ass off for that. I mean, I'm talking about calling people, please share, do this, make different memes. I mean, talk about it on other people's podcasts. You have to do that, or you can't get there. And there's a bunch of different rankings, and the IAB look at some of them and they don't look at other ones, but iTunes is pretty accurate. Now iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and now there's Apple Gateway. There's a new one. There's about 1 million of them, to be honest with you. But I would agree with you. iTunes has a different metric. It's about who's searching you, how many people are actually leaving you reviews, how many people are giving you a rating,
Spotify,
feedback.
Dude, Spotify's on the come, dude. I'm telling you something. I just started using Spotify, and I'm not monetized there yet or anything, but they're competing. They're going to compete. I think Spotify is going to compete when it comes to monetization, because there are some people that are starting to make some fucking money off Spotify.
Well, isn't that where Rogan is right now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That's his main thing. I don't know what deal he worked out with them, but he made millions from them.
My
deal with Spotify. Yeah, Rogan.
I was just going to ask you about Spotify. To you.
To me, it sucks because I've got 3 podcasts. I actually have 4. One's really my wife's, but 2 are doing great on Spotify. And then the Jeremy Hansen podcast is taken down there right now because I have a copyright infringement through the RIAA of the United States of America for a Michael Stewart, which has this weird music. So anyways, I did the proper steps, filed the grievance, say, I don't know what you're talking about. If I have something playing in the background, I'd be happy to take the show down. Well, that was a month ago. And I've been calling them back and forth, and they won't let me actually talk to the attorney. And then they told me after we talked, BZ, and they said, well, the guy that actually put the takedown order in your show retired. So now I'm waiting on the new attorney to go back through the things, And in the meantime, I'm making money with this, and I'm not getting the downloads. I'm not getting the ad shares. I'm getting nothing over there. And they're just like, we'll just get to it when we get to it. That I don't like. And I think that's kind of unprofessional, if you know what I mean.
There's some snakiness going on in regards to the whole copyright shit, dude, and the control that some of these people have over sounds, and how sounds are used. And I know there's little tricks that we can do and shit, but we don't have the means to copyright all our shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? We don't have that kind of fucking sit there and copyright all our shit, and then to sit there and have people constantly fucking searching for shit and then suing every motherfucker that does it. It's almost like they're fishing. I think that it's almost like they're fucking fishing. They're just sue happy pieces of shit, fishing for people using their fucking 8 seconds of bullshit.
Well, let me ask you.
It's funny you say that.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Oh, I was just gonna say, when you talk to the guys that have been in this industry a long time, and I mean, I'm talking about the big guys, the Tom Leikuses of the world. I'm talking about the Rush Limbaughs of the world. All of them that sat on the top will tell you that the crown is heavy and it's best to not be at the top. It's best to be a rung or 2 down where you're comfortable, but you're not the one that's getting everything pelted at you. And I tell you that the more you go up the ladder, the harder it gets. Everybody thinks that it gets easier. They're like, oh, you get one video that goes viral. I don't know how many you've had, Rocky, but I've had several that have went viral. And then 2-3 weeks later, you're at the exact same point, just slowly climbing the ladder, slowly. Right. But the more you get, or the bigger you get, the more stuff gets thrown at you. And he's right. People actually think, I'm going to sue that bastard and I'm going to make my money that way. And it could be literally, you could be playing a clip with, somebody with a boombox in the background playing music really softly. But if it's audible and they can catch it, they can literally take your whole show down.
Yep.
So that technology exists to be able to do that. You could be having whatever, and somebody walks by and whatnot, and that's a violation.
They have AI. They don't have people doing that shit no more. AI does it all, dude. That's why sometimes even on Facebook, you'll get a strike, and then you can contest it. It's because the AI misread it, right? And then so they'll get the strike approved. So everything's AI that's scanning everything now. So we're in a whole different fucking time now when it comes to data. It's kind of fucking weird.
But the shindig is podcasting or vidcasting so damned lucrative? The potential is so huge that, it's worth doing that because that's going to be a source of some of my income.
No, I know probably 10% of the people in this entire industry that actually make a living doing this. and the other 90% are broke as fucking divorced.
Or getting divorced.
Yeah.
The truth is, it's a passion first. And if you don't have years into this, and this is literally for you new podcasters, I tell everybody, go do it. Live your passion, do your thing, but don't quit your job until you can at least replace that plus 10%. That's what I'm saying, because 10% of your income is going to go to be driving to do interviews, buying new crap that you don't even plan on buying, but they're so good at advertising. You dream about this, right? You know what I'm saying? It's just like right here in front of me, $500, $1,000, $250, $300.
But
You know,
you're
it's
right,
just
though. It's the amount of work that people have to put in. I mean, dude, I remember when I was at Lockheed, I would show up at 4 a.m. at Lockheed because I was doing a fuck ton with all these celebrities. So I would show up at 4 a.m. at Lockheed so I could get 2 hours of video work in before I fucking started my day job. And then I'd manage 90 fucking people making missiles and then get home at 6:30 and start my show at 7 o'clock at night. That will kick your ass. And we've done that shit for years. And if you're not that committed, then just do a Sunday show. You know what I'm saying? Do a cooking fucking show or something.
Well, let me ask you.
I can do cooking.
I want to do a cooking show too, bro. I want to cook shit.
Yeah, I can't cook for shit.
Sorry.
Watch Zone asks, what about AI? What's going to happen with AI? AI is already just screwing. Well, there's a guy, well, you know him, and you may know him too. I know, Jeremy, you know Scotty Roberts. And I recently commissioned Scotty Roberts. I said, hey, well, let me show you this. This that I play, I did that, quote, did that. Yeah, I didn't do that. That's Grok AI. But I finally beat the shit out of it long enough. I mean, I said, do this and this and this and this. And I hit it probably close to 50 times before I got anything similar to what I was looking for. So I call up Scotty yesterday and I said, Scotty, I can do this on AI, but I'd much rather give you the money, dude, because the stuff that you've done before for me, and I got his name from you, Jeremy, because he'd done some really good stuff for you. And so I called up Scotty, and Scotty says, thank you for coming to me, because I'm a human being and I'm almost kind of getting my ass handed to me by AI, which can do whatever it is, whatever people want, for a hell of a lot less money. So going back,
who is this Scotty guy? I never met this clown.
Oh, he's going to love you for that. Go ahead and say it again.
Fuck you, Scotty. So the problem with Scotty, I remember, so right when technology started growing, I remember his frustrations back then, because this was back when the Pakistanis started doing all these logos where you send them $20 and they had you know what I'm saying?
He specifically said the Pakistani dudes that will do you a logo for, I don't know, $25, $100, something like that. Yeah, he exactly said that, Rocky.
So somebody like Scotty, and here's the thing, and this is why experience does matter, man, because we have a whole bunch of pseudo experts out there. Scotty Roberts is one of the most defined artists, natural artists that I've ever met. I mean, what this guy can draw naturally on a piece of fucking paper with a pencil is beyond my understanding of a human gift.
He's an auteur. He's a creative genius.
He is a creative genius. He has legitimate creative genius. And so when people hire him, they're hiring his expertise. They're not just hiring a guy who has an AI fucking program, because they're very specific. They want real art and originality. But his biggest fucking thing now is technology. And I'm a graphic artist, dude. I'm not a natural artist. I can't draw nothing like he does. But if I market differently, I can make $400,000 more a year than he does, and that's the fucked up thing about, this actors are going through it. Writers in Hollywood are going through this because AI is taking the work of fucking people, of artists, it's making fucking songs, go to tell it what you want it to fucking sing and it'll make you a whole fucking song. It'll write you a fucking poem.
Well, this logo right above here, that one, Scotty Roberts did that.
That looks like Robert's work.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I said, hey, can you do this and this and add this and add
He
this?
has a very distinct style in his fonts and his colorations and
incredible work. So hell yeah. But he said, my competition right now isn't other graphic artists.
It's almost collapsed them
that are like myself. And he says,
Scotty was a corporate artist. And so the jobs that Scotty used to get were $5,000 jobs, but that was back when people didn't have the AI to do their shit. So he went from that to, but here's the thing too, you know, when you start going after like the podcast industry, you got to understand is that a lot of podcasters don't have a lot of fucking money. So if you want to sit there and start advertising, I offer it as a service, but I rarely ever get it because people don't want to pay, you know, money to have a banner made. What's my fucking point? What the fuck am I talking about? Holy shit.
Well, we're talking about AI. And the point that I'm going to be going to is that, all right, AI has already affected Scotty Roberts, the graphic arts industry.
Shut him down. Yeah, shut him down.
So the big question, you know, is going back to this guy. This was the question. AI. Now, how is AI potentially going to impact podcasts, vidcasts, that kind of thing? We know it will.
It already kind of is in a sense that it's creating false illusions to a lot of people. Jeremy, how many times are we seeing these fucking these video ads to where want your fucking shit to go viral? And you know this AI fucking program will do all the work for you. Here, and like I said earlier, what AI is doing is that it's using the same language and the same cuts and the same SEO descriptions, the same fucking key phrase descriptions, every fucking thing. It's doing all the same shit that everybody else is fucking doing. But we are lazy, right? We used to have to remember fucking phone numbers. We used to be able to remember 30 fucking phone numbers. And you know, there are kids today that have never fucking had to write down on a piece of paper. They don't even know how to spell because their entire existence they had spell check. So AI, yeah, man, AI is, I don't have an answer. I don't even have a theory right now on the direction because I have a feeling we're going into some Star Trek shit. You know what I'm saying?
We are.
And so
it's got to affect everybody. It has to affect
it's every aspect of our breathing fucking life. I mean, that's the thing about Elon Musk, you know, he doesn't align with my personal fucking values, you know, and so I appreciate everything he's doing. But I'll say this, I'm keeping my fucking eye on him. That's all. You know, if you want to put a chip in my brain, I'm keeping my fucking eye on you because I don't want shit in my brain. Right. So he's one of those guys. And so that kind of is not aligning. Huh?
Do you think there's going to be a renaissance? Like there's going to be a renaissance, man. You know, my thing is I agree with Sasquatch there. It is going to affect everything, but every time everything changes, there's going to be an opportunity there. And it depends if you're looking for those opportunities or if you're sitting back. Like if you notice, and I'm sure you've seen this, Rocky, the new thing for 2025 and into 2026 is organic video. If you have a small service business, what they want to see your face. So they want to know that you're real and that it's organic. They want to know what you can do, and they want you to provide a value statement that has an end date. Put that in a small, short 20-second video and shove it out there, and you will get results. Now, is that going to change next year? Probably. But it's gotten so AI already that people aren't trusting these, you know, things. Like if you remember like 3 years ago, everybody wanted to have the Matrix short film, you know, with them going backwards and the, you know, the bullets whizzing over them and stuff. And now it's gotten so much that way as everybody wants to go that way. I mean, do you know that the whole porn industry is going to end because of the AI models that are being created and the things that they're doing? It's done. It's gone. It's already gone.
Yeah, but AI can't produce the smell.
That's funny. Okay, that shit's not funny. All right, I'm going to take a break. You guys get that out of your brain. We'll be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Welcome to Reaver of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a sharp wit and clear discussion. Tune in every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a refreshing dose of reality as we fearlessly tackle a tough topic with no nonsense, just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com to discover where you can catch River of Common Sense in action. He's here to amplify your inner logic. He may not always be polite, he may not always be refined, but one thing's for sure, he always tells it like it is.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being, and in the good that comes from exercising these rights well. The founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic woman who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. I'm BZ. This happens to be ROCCI STUCCI. And this happens to be Jeremy Hanson. And we are all back in the saloon. It's, 9:37 on the far left coast on the Pacific. It's, oh my God, 11:37 Central and 12:37 where Rocky is right now. And I think you got a jam, Sam, don't you?
I got a jam, Sam, bro. You are smooth as shit on that transition, bro. That was good, bro. That was really good. That was good, man. Just you walked right into that. I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't ready for it. Nice.
Bada bing, bada boom. Take the arrow.
Hey, bro. I want to say something though, because it was months ago when you first got a hold of me, and I told you I was going to come on your show, and I never did, obviously. I ran into some situations in life, and they were very tough, and still dealing with them. But what the fuck ever. But you were very gracious, brother. And I mentioned this to Jeremy when I talked with Jeremy when he got a hold of me last week about this program, and I says, dude, I owe that to you. You know, so I just want to personally thank you, brother, for your patience with me. And sometimes when life gets you, you kind of do some uncharacteristic things, and you're not as responsible on, getting back to people and doing some of the commitments and shit. So thank you for that, brother. And it does mean a ton, especially when you kind of don't understand your own shit, and you're trying to figure your own shit out. Patience from other people is beyond welcomed. So I appreciate you, bro.
Well, thank you very kindly. I appreciate it too. Sadly to say, I've never really encountered any kind of things that challenged me throughout my years. And so having never had to deal with anything really, really bad in my life.
That's a good thing, bro. Oh.
I get you. However, big caveat. What the fuck, Jeremy?
What?
Don't spend $210,000 fighting the state of California. That's bad. And the second thing is, Rocky, I got to have you back. So we can just riff back and forth, talk about any damn thing that we want.
Well, we talk about some politics. We talk about life. I'm really good at that shit. Good at that shit.
Okay. I think it's perfect. So I understand you got a jam.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me on. I look forward to coming back on again. Jeremy, I love you, brother. Keep kicking ass, bro. And I will talk with you gentlemen soon.
All righty. Thank you so kindly. I appreciate it. ROCCI STUCCI, folks. And Jeremy Hanson.
How
Good
are
to have
you?
you back. Hey,
Are you feeling?
Let me ask you. Good. Let me ask if I can ask you this. There are a ton of stats, and this is perhaps where we're going to get into the. You have a facile understanding of podcasting that I can't even get close to. But I found some stats, and this is where I'm beginning to understand. This is a market that is dripping with lucre. So I went to this guy's website. Apple Podcasts, 2.5 million. 450,000 podcasts are active. 71 million episodes. 100 languages. 62% of Americans, 12, have listened to a podcast, up from 57% in 21. 41% of Americans, 12 and over, have listened to a podcast. So blah and blah, 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 and blah, and on the blah. So this means there's a ton of money, but you have since, oh shit, we got 20 minutes. We got enough time to do this.
Absolutely.
In your life, and this just blew me away. For a time before I left the Sacramento studio for SHR in 2021, I used to make an appeal to all the truck drivers, and I'd say, "Hey, listen to me. You can play the podcast." I was on Spreaker at the time, so I do video and audio. And I appealed to the truckers, and then you and I discovered you, or you discovered me, one of the two, and you absolutely gobsmacked me. It's like taking a 21-pound herring and hitting me upside the face and saying, "Do you know what kind of numbers you are getting?" And I was looking at, we were on YouTube at the time, SHR still on YouTube, and I was getting 3, 5, and you said, "Oh no." Tell me about that, because when you hit me with those numbers, the analytics, that rocked the hell out of my world. And so what did you say? What did you tell me?
Well, I don't remember exactly what I told you, but I remember going to the site and looking at you in real time and how much traffic was actually flowing there at the time. Now, since then, a lot of those things have been discontinued. For some reason, right at the beginning of 2025, a lot of them went dissolute. They're just done. I don't know why, but you were getting a lot. I'm talking probably 40, 50 times what you said you were getting. And I was like, how is this guy, not being more popular? Well, what it was you were being suppressed. And it happened very, very frequently. And if you remember back then, they said, "Oh, the government would never do that. That's not real. We don't do that." Well, now we know for a fact that all that was real. And I wondered to myself, if they didn't suppress your show, how popular do you think that you would be today?
I have no idea, because when you're talking about analytics and you're talking about technology, I really don't have a concept. I used to think that if I got 20 people watching my show, that it was a great show. Because what did I know? I was just an old, fat, retired guy with a beard that wanted to stay off heroin after I retired in 2016. I was on radio, so I thought, okay, I'll do this. And the reason I do this isn't because it makes me money. I'm not trying to monetize anything. I don't have a paywall. And I'm not going to stop saying what I say just because I want somebody to pick me up. But the numbers that you indicated to me that I recall, you were saying, did you know that your shows are getting 25,000 views?
Right.
And I said, there's no way. And you had come, and somehow, I don't know how, apparently you could do it then. You can't do it now, but you parted.
I'm sure that you can still do it. You just got to find it. Yeah. You just got to find the things. Right. The analytics, said, there's an analytic thing out there, because all it is, BZ, is there's a highway, and it's the internet superhighway, and there's probably 3 or 4 of them that control everything that's on there. So wherever your information is coming from and bouncing to, you can calculate all of those things. but you get suppressed and then they show you data so you're not interested in doing it anymore. And I'll give you an example. Do you remember back in the day when your show used to be on Facebook?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think it still streams there every once in a while.
So, I remember watching one show in particular, and I think at that time you had, I don't know, 68, 74, something like that, people watching your show. And you said, and this is in real time, like on our end, how you have numbers and then we have numbers. There's just many people in the room with you. And you're sitting there, and I don't even remember what you said, but it went from like 74 to 15. I mean, like that, bam. I was like, oh yeah, no, nobody's got control of this. This isn't happening, But the truth is, the information that gets out there is exactly the information that they let get out there. And I don't care what administration is. There's people that are above the presidents in these administrations that determine what you're going to hear and what you're not going to hear. I know people, even with social media sites, that they can't do what they need to do because the interstates or the proverbial internet highway system gets shut down for certain people with certain topics. The GPS doesn't work for you, if you know what I'm saying. And your real numbers get lost in translation, because how many people do you know that could actually go look up their own numbers?
I wouldn't know the first place to go, but I admit
exactly.
That. I really admit that.
Right. Well, and like now, I think it's kind of a shame. Before you could see, like you could go to multiple different sites, how many people came, where the traffic came from, how long they listened, what the demographic of the traffic was. And that's, not to get political here, but when they say like, well, Elon Musk is getting sensitive information. Okay, hang on a second here. We've been doing this business a long time, and I could tell where you were coming from. I could get your IP address. I knew if you were female. I knew if you were male. I knew if you were over 18 or under 18. I knew all of this stuff about you. Now, I didn't know your social security number, but I'm sure with an IP address and the proper person doing it illegally, they could go get your information. So it's to the American people, they think that they're safe, and they think that their information isn't out there. Everybody's information is out there. It's just, you have to know where to go get it. If your information wasn't out there, BZ, why would they try to get rid of TikTok?
There's so many places that I wanted to go with this show. And I understand why Rocky had to leave. It's like Zero Dark 30 for him. He has to get some nappy time sometime. I get that. But I say this every show. There's so many places I could have gone tonight. There's so many places I wanted to go tonight. I'm going to run out of time. It's 12 minutes till. Now, this guy, I met him from KLRN. This is a guy named Lost Wanderer. And I find this interesting. He says his space science show beats Neil deGrasse Tyson. Everybody should kick Neil deGrasse Tyson's ass for one reason or another. But he beats his show on Good Pods. So, to Lost Wanderer, I think that's great. That's fabulous. I couldn't wish more numbers on you. But let me ask you this, because I went and researched some stuff for the show. Here are the top podcasters in their earnings that I found. Okay, we knew we were going to go here. Joe Rogan, $800,000 per episode, $83 million a year. Two people I've never heard of before, Karen Kilgariff and Georgia Hardstack, My Favorite Murder, $30 million annually. Dave Ramsey, The Ramsey Show. Okay, I get that. $10 million annually. Dax Shepard, Armchair Expert, $9 million annually. He's making more money in a podcast than he is as an actor any day. Bill Simmons, the Bill Simmons podcast. Who? This dude is making $7 million annually. Alex Cooper. Now, everybody's heard this because of Cammie Cackler. She has the Call Her Daddy show podcast. $125 million new multi-year contract with Sirius XM. Now, the big question that I'm going to pose to you is, Joe Rogan, okay, did some of these people get in sufficiently early, maybe like Joe, so that they had time to develop and cultivate an audience. It caught on, it exploded, and then advertisers say, "Where'd this guy come from? MMA dude? He's brainwhacked. No, he'll listen to anybody. No, he'll have anybody on his show. He'll actually be open and ask questions." So some of the other people that are getting these podcasts, are they sort of the original archetype of the podcast? So maybe the question I should be asking is, the people that I'm looking at over here that I'm reading the stats from, people think, "Oh, I can get in and I can make millions." How did these people get to make millions? / who did they pay off? Doesn't it make you wonder that?
I'm going to answer you with a riddle. Is that okay? There's one of three ways. Perception is everything. Knowledge is power, and who you know.
Okay. Well, now I can get the concept of Joe Rogan through MMA, knows everybody, and probably through MMA began relationships with tons of celebrities. So are you suggesting that perhaps they saw him, maybe saw a couple of podcasts that he had, and decided, that's kind of a cool thing. And they maybe threw some money and or some advertisers at him?
Oh, absolutely. And this is so funny that you say that. This is just an example. You can find somebody in your niche that's already popular, okay? And a lot of them have open channels for this. And you can go pay $10,000, $25,000 to mention your podcast, and overnight you'll have 50 to 100,000 viewers because this person trusts you. Now we're all going to trust you. And that's a real thing. People do it all the time. There's actually companies that will pay for that. You have to pay them, obviously, but they seek that out. They will put you on like-minded podcasts. They will have you mentioned, almost like product placement. You go in there, but you got to pay for it. And to get really big really fast is almost impossible anymore. Rogan's kind of special. I mean, Rogan, I'm sure, like every other podcaster, runs fillers, where companies, because he probably has nothing to do with that backside of that anymore. And when you get to a certain point, you hire a company and they do all your marketing and your advertising and your growth and, all that stuff. You don't have any control of it. You just go in there, create the content, and it goes to somebody else. You probably don't even know your accountant at that point. But that's the truth of where this goes. And as you get bigger, people start reaching out to you and you start learning more about the dirty secrets about, well, this is how we do this. This is how we do that. I think it's just part of the growth. It's part of the evolution of the show. I know for a fact, because I've talked to them, that these happen in different ways, but I'll give you an example of something crazy. I know a couple people that have 400,000 or 500,000 downloads every couple of weeks. Okay. I know another guy that has between 400 and 600 downloads a day. Okay. The guy that is doing the 400 to 600 downloads a day last month sold $70,000 worth of product for a company that he does affiliate marketing for.
Okay.
The other guy that's doing the 400 to 500,000 downloads hasn't sold nothing and is going broke. So it kind of shows you where people are, who's doing what, without saying, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay, so the challenge then, especially today, because you have said so outright, and I suspect, maybe there are a shit ton more people out there that are listening to me than I could possibly imagine. Oh, and then if you would, because I can never remember this, tell me about the stats of, how is it that it is determined, and you have the numbers for this, that if you have X number of views, in reality, you're in the top 10%, top 1% of podcasts. And what's that rate? What's that number? Because you said, Fat Boy, you've got that.
I believe it's if you get 1,500 in your first 7 days, you're in the top 5% of all podcasts in the world. Doesn't matter what niche group you're in the world. 1,500 downloads, 7 days.
When you said that, I went, absolutely. How does that happen? Because there are so few that have content or consistency.
Yes. I think that's a lot of it. Consistency is a big, big thing. I went from getting 24,000 views. I missed one show and I dropped down to 8,000 that quick. Bam. So I do know that that's a big thing. Yeah. It's just, it blows my mind too. But again, we're dealing with something that we don't know. And like with the algorithms depend very bigly on consistency. Well, if the algorithms are pushing you in front of new people that have never seen you before and you aren't consistent with them, then they just pull you from it. Because here's what it is. They don't market these shows or the podcast. They don't market them as this is a really good podcast. They market them for money. So when the money guys look at your podcast, they look at it like it's a product. Okay. How good is this product? How many things can we sell from this product? Is it shiny? Is it non-offensive? Is it this? Is it that? And can you get it? Because a product isn't worth anything unless they have it to sell, right?
Well, there I go for pooping nasties as I speak them on the air. Okay, well, I told myself I'd have to clean up my act because now a podcaster these days, okay, if you want to come into it and have a podcast, be creative, have some kind of content that you hope will appeal to somebody, you still have to deal with censorship and demonetization and suspensions. Right. And Spotify pulled you off completely, your show completely for something over which you have zero control whatsoever. Podcast censorship, website censorship. I used to think that Spotify was kind of inviolate. They wouldn't do that stuff. I mean, that's where Joe Rogan is. He talks about everything. Well, apparently, bull-fucking-shit. So,
right. Well, I'll give you another example of more media type shit. Right now, you've got these companies out there, and maybe they've reached out to you, maybe not, but they're like, hey, BZ, we would love to create a newsletter for you. Wouldn't that be great? You can reach all these new people, and you can have new people there, and you just write a few articles, right? I mean, has anybody asked you that? Or have you thought about that from seeing other things that people have doing it?
Okay, everybody that listens to the show knows, but I will explain now. Jeremy's heard this before, but for other people, from 2017 on, I had 3 shows a week. I do my 2 shows and another show, and that went on until 2021, and then early 2022, I moved from California, always spelled with a K, to where I am in Nofe, N-O-F-E, Idaho. And I was off for a year and a half, almost 2 years. Well, if that's not the guillotine to a show, I don't know what the hell is. I lopped off my own head, apparently willingly. And only since last year in January, I've had to build whatever it is that I have now from scratch in an entirely new and different environment. So am I resonating? I don't know. I got no damn idea. But I did have to build everything from scratch all over again. And I know, as you've indicated, dude, Fat Man, you're getting censored. You're getting stomped on. You can't trust the analytics. And I think, folks, we're going to go over just a little bit because I want to ask, Jeremy has already hit on this, and Rocky hit on this too as well. And conversely, this is a little bit about what you and I spoke and addressed last week. And what I guess, for lack of a better word, I don't know. I don't know the right terminology. I call them like middlemen. The middlemen in podcasting, the distributors, the agents, the representatives, because I'm sure they're all trustworthy and on the up and up. You've encountered them, and you have some incredible stories. So, everybody in the podcasting world has, history and relationships with those who would promote your podcasts. And well, first let's talk about the middlemen, because they're looking out for you, right?
They're looking out for their pocketbook just like everybody else. And I'm glad you brought that up before I tell you about the newsletter thing we were talking about. These are middlemen. We will grow your podcast. We are going to get you in front of new people. We are going to bring advertisers to you. That's what they tell you. And then on the backside, just watch your numbers grow. But what they don't tell you is on your newsletter, they're getting between $1 and $2 per month per person you have sign up in your newsletter. So a small podcast that has a newsletter that goes out twice a week, maybe there's 4 or 5 stories in it, maybe a recipe, whatever it is, and they got 10,000 people. The company that's doing the very good work for you, that's growing your audience, is literally making $10,000 to $20,000 a month on you. Then they take some of that money and they're going and buying views. I mean, you can buy anything that you want. Okay. And here is the biggest thing that nobody wants you to know. But there is such a thing as email scraping. Do you know what that is?
You explained it to me last week. Go ahead.
Okay, so let's just say that you target somebody. Joe Schmo has a great big show, kind of the same as you. So what they do is they go in, and they do it in a legal way. It's unethical, but it's not illegal. And they go in and they scrape emails. They scrape the people that are on there. And then they take them and they will say, I want you to create a show about this, or I want you to create a show about this, something that's very engaging, something that they can ask a question on. And they will take all of those hard work for emails from this other person. They will throw them all into the mix. They'll put your link in it, and then they will send it out to those people and grow their lists that way. And you just got to pay. You pay somebody a little bit to give you a big email. Then you got to pay to go through the emails, find out which ones are good, find out which ones are bad. Then you warm them up just like you're going to warm up some hot chocolate. And then you send it out and you get all of those people's stuff. And it happens every day. They do it with business. They do it with podcasting. If it can be done in business, it's.
So these guys, let's say, as you indicate, they're getting, what did you say, 20,000, something like that?
Yeah, 10 to 20,000, $1 to $2 per person on a newsletter.
Okay. And you said the newsletter doesn't have to be huge. So what percentile is going back to the content creator that wrote it, that has the show?
Yeah. If they know about it, maybe 5%, maybe.
Oh, okay.
But most of the time,
so this stuff
they don't even
happens,
know about it.
And the person, like me, might not even know that for whatever reason. I'm having somebody who created a newsletter in my name and send it out, and I don't know. And if I don't know, then I can't object. Can I? No, of course I can.
Well, I mean, most of this, BZ, is do you want to have a newsletter? Because what they do is they make you focus on this. We are going to grow your show. You're going to have so many listeners. There's going to be such great engagement. We're going to do this for you, pat our back. And then you're like, well, of course I want to grow my show. Just think about this is going to be so awesome. I can connect at a personal level with my people, because that's what podcasting is. It's getting to a personal level with whoever you're at, and you need to be an expert in something. And what they do is they use that. They're making money on it. And most of the time, the people don't even know. Just like back when you used to do Facebook all the time and you'd have people on there, you'd be running your show live and there would be an ad that would pop up at the bottom. Okay. That ad would be served to those people, and Facebook or whoever put the ad in there at that time would make money off of that ad serve. The reason they were there were for you. Did you know they were making money on it?
How would I know?
Exactly. That's the point. Most of these people don't know the different ways, different angles, different metrics that you can make money from a podcast. What people need to do, if you're young and you're just getting into this business and you want to make it a business and not a hobby, you have to look, and I would say that at a bunch of different factors, but this is one of them. You are not creating a podcast, because the podcast is about 15 to 20% of the work that goes into it. You are creating a product that's going to have a shelf life, and you're going to have to change things up, but you're creating a product that somebody else is going to assess the value. So take yourself out of it, take the personal part of you out of it, and say, okay, if I was an advertiser to this group of people, the demographic that this podcast serves, how much is it worth, and how many different ways can this one make money? Because that's exactly the way the advertisers do it.
But you can purchase things. You can purchase viewers.
That's right.
You can purchase analytics. So that's why I go back to the original question, big podcasting. How fake is it? And apparently, well, real fake. So let me ask
That's
this.
why.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say, like in the land of Joe Rogan makes so much money for the people that come on there that, guess what? Even if there was fake viewers for Joe Rogan, they're not fake viewers because they're making that much money. But in the industry, as you're talking, the big corporate type people that are pushing, to go back what Rocky was saying, the big company pushed places, because remember, there's people now that are doing podcasts that are actually owned by companies, and they just show up just like Johnny Carson did for the Late Show.
Great.
That is a real thing. The goodness, organicness, that thing has been tarnished in the podcast world. So I look at it from somebody that has scrimped, struggled, survived, done everything I can, where I'm actually coming out on the other side and I feel good about it. So I can't say it's completely fake, because I can look at myself and know, and I've got good friends that I know, but then I've got other people that I know aren't doing it the right way and that it is fake. I've known people that have bought and sold websites, changed the name just to get a follower rating, and then go out and sell to sponsors. I know people that have went and bought downloads. I know people that have went and bought ratings. I know people that have went and bought, like on their YouTube, you had to have 1,000 people to be able to go on YouTube Live. And I know people that have went and paid for 1,000 people to be added to their YouTube just so they were able to go live.
Okay, but that begs the question then. Okay, let's say Fat Dude right here says, and SHR we don't have 500 subscribers yet. And my understanding is there's some kind of a threshold with which, if you can, which is why, okay, I do this. It'd sure be nice if you guys subscribe, and I make fun of subscriptions at SHR Media YouTube and SHR Media Rumble. It sure be nice to have more people. But apparently, Sackhead Sean has discovered that, along with Jersey Joe, okay, there is a threshold that you need to meet or break in order to get more people. And Sackhead Sean is under the assumption that if we can just break this one glass barrier, we can see it. It's right over here, 500 subscribers. Then somehow that opens up another gate in terms of, okay, we will let you be seen by more people. Okay, and that's how it rolls now.
So he's not wrong, but he's not right. There's a few glass ceilings that you have to go through, and he's right when it comes to the algorithm, because most of this is about algorithm. Now, what Rocky was saying is true too. You can go to algorithm hell, where you just completely follow everything with no creativity of your own, and you get put in like a computer file. But he's absolutely right. It used to be with YouTube, you had to have, I think it was 1,000 followers, and you had to have 2,400 hours of content watched the previous 30 days, something like that. So there was a barrier there and you really had to give it, but now you can just buy it. So what happens is these guys that do really good shows, but they don't really have the money to buy it, they're the ones that get stuck in the mix that are still trying to do it the old-fashioned way, like we used to have to do it. So the pureness of all digital media, I don't care what platform you're on, and I'll go as far as to say on a terrestrial also, the pureness of anything that we thought we had is gone, and it's gone forever. We will never get that back because you can buy anything that you want. Now, continuing it, you know what? If you don't have good content, because at the end of the day, you have to have good content. You have to be willing to be consistent and you have to put in the effort. But to get there, the bar has been raised so high, and most of the times by corporations. A lot of people struggle to say, well, how am I ever going to do this? How do I go down the road to meet the goal that I need to get at? Just like he's saying, if we can just get here, it's going to open up. And if we can just get here, it's going to open up. And what I have found is the levers, it's like a dam system. The levers of control don't move unless you get lucky, unless you started early, or unless you pay for it. And unfortunately, I believe that's the truth.
Okay, let's say I'm Joe, new podcaster, and you just said, well, Joe, new podcaster, why don't you go out and buy some views? And I'm certainly malleable for money. How do I do that? For my show, you know what, Jeremy, I want some viewers. I have $25 or whatever the hell it is. I can pay for viewers. How do you do that? Who does that?
Well, there's a bunch of podcast agencies that will do that for you. And they will say things like, none of them are from here. They're all from overseas.
Naturally.
If you do get one from America, there are some real ones. And I should be very careful about this because there's guys that are really good that are sitting in a dorm room right now that are trying to make extra money while they go to college. And they have different techniques of getting you in front of different people in, Facebook and Instagram. They can do that. But then there's the ones that they call the black hatters, and they're on Fiverr. They're on, there's different groups on Facebook. They're all over, where you can actually find these people to do anything you want, from buying podcast downloads, buying podcast rankings, to blowing up your Facebook to where you look like you're really awesome. To same thing with X, YouTube. You can get anything you want and you can look on there and you can do it. But here's the problem with that. You're basically signing a death sentence to your podcast. You're going to get great CPM, and CPM is how many downloads you get. The problem is when they go back and the company measures your CRM, which is how many ads served actually turned into profitability for them, it's going to be so low they will never, ever go back to you again. So that company is out of the mix to ever be an advertiser for you again.
Okay, we're going to have to wrap it up. Last question for you, Jeremy Hanson. Okay. We know what kills podcasts: inconsistency, bad content. You can buy viewers, all of those things. So it looks like, hey, podcasting is no different than anything else, right? It's just reflective of what's happening in the general economy. Okay, there are the millionaires like Joe Rogan, and there are the peons and the serfs like me, who will probably not end up going anywhere because I'm me. And then in between, I don't know, are the grifters and the scammers. Is that about right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say that they're top to bottom. But I will say this, and it's so hard, BZ, to throw everybody under the bus, because there is a way. You come out, you have awesome content, you're very consistent, you're constantly throwing stuff out to social medias all across the board. You're networking with people like you and with Rocky and with Scotty. I mean, you're literally working the system for the way that it's supposed to be, and it can be done. But people don't want it that way anymore. They want it right now. And that way takes time, it takes effort, it takes sacrifice, it takes all of those things. And people don't want to do that anymore. So you have to be really careful about calling everybody out because it's just not fair because there's a lot of them out there. And there's really good companies out there too. Like Spreaker is fantastic and they don't put up with shenanery like that. And I'm not going to name the names of the other ones, but I'm not going to say that about the other ones because I know that they use black hat stuff, if you know what I'm saying. So what you said is 100% accurate. It's about as real as anything else out there, including TV, terrestrial, any type of advertising. It can be real and it can't be real. To the people that get, results from podcasts, it's absolutely real. For the people that don't, well, maybe it's not so real. And then there's always the in-between, like, well, they had a bad few months. Maybe it will happen the next few months. You see what I'm saying?
So the thrust of my show, Big Podcasting, how fake is it? The answer is pretty fake, unless you're willing to hammer the shit out of it and bring money.
100%. Because this isn't free. And that's the one thing people think. I'm going to get a microphone. I'm going to get a recorder. Like you were saying, Beezy actually got me this mic. And I appreciate that very much. Before this mic, I had another mic that I didn't like. I love this mic. But the thing is, Beezy, how does a guy, and you know what it's like in the working days, how does a guy go pay all his bills and then start with a top tier podcast without sacrificing something at some point? How do you do it?
Well, I don't know. I do know, however, there's a good friend, used to be at SHR, created his own TV channel, TECN. The guy's name is Ken McClinton. His wife, and he had some other people around him say, Ken had a 2-hour show, late night, Monday through Friday. Then he had at least one, maybe two religious shows every Sunday. And then he would work or be sitting behind the board working a Saturday show. And I can remember 2.5 years ago, telling him, Ken, dude, back off. This is going to kill you. He, in November of 2023, I watched him, I think, have a stroke on the air. And it turned out right after that, he had 3 strokes in 2 weeks. He is not back today. So is that this worth it? I do this. I don't make money, but I'm weird. I don't give a shit about making money because I have a nice retirement. This is me being lucky. I'm lucky. I'm going to keep doing this as long as A, I'm having fun, and B, I'm still alive and not losing, my brain. But
see, I used to be that way where
I'm super damn lucky in this world.
Yes. I think we are both lucky, first of all, that we're in America, but second of all, when I restarted this show, it was simply to get me through the winter while my wife and I ran our other business through the summer. And now it's actually turned into something. I did it out of a lack of options. Even though I love doing this, I'm kind of like you. I have always done this for the passion of doing it. And I just happened to get lucky this last time where now I'm making a little bit of, I haven't even made the money yet. I've made the money, just haven't been paid the money. You know what I'm saying? It's the IOU system in the business. But I see a lot of people that start this and they have this falsehood in their head that somehow they're going to do this for a living. And then they get divorced. Then companies start coming after them because it's just next month. If I can just get through to next month. And it never, ever happens. So not only is this, partially false from like an advertiser standpoint, if big podcasting is real, I think that there is a serious effect on the people actually doing the podcast themselves in fooling themselves to think that 1, this is an easy dollar. Two, that they're going to have millions of views and somehow become this, this great leader, because it just doesn't happen that way. So to answer your question in totality, can podcast be fun? Can it make you money? Can it give you a job? Absolutely. But it is harder work than most physical labor jobs. It's seriously stressful, and you cannot get to where you want to go unless you're willing to sacrifice big time.
And
if it's other than that,
you gotta
you have to go to
pound the social media all the time, 24/7. You must be relentless. You can never give up. I want to leave the show with this so that people, again, I think too many people are assuming, I got a microphone. I know I have the technology. I got a little mixer, and I'm really cute, and I'm going to make $1 million. Yeah. This is for good or for bad. I want people to understand. Talk to folks, if you would, about the numbers that you're getting for your show. Your show, counting or discounting Spotify, I'm not sure how that's going to factor in. You're getting numbers that when you first told me, I thought, holy mother of God, how are you getting these numbers? You're going to be a millionaire shortly. And the answer is, you're not, I'm not, but hey, regale the people. The numbers that you're getting to me are staggering.
Well, people think they're staggering, and then you just kind of get used to it, if you know what I'm saying. I'm trying to pull up my thing here so I can show the camera. Here, now in January, you always go down, but there is, I don't know if you can see that.
405,584.
Correct. And I'm down 32% from the 30 days in December.
Okay, folks, stop right there. Let me let you understand. This guy right here gets 500,000 views. Do you think you're going to get 500,000 views? I know I never will. Ever in my wildest, fetid, fevered, knurled dreams. I will never make that achievement. And yet, this man is not a monster millionaire. And I know for a fact that he works like a motherfucker every day at that job, at another job, and to keep his family, to keep food, shelter, kids, wife. So you want numbers? Okay, he's got numbers and he's not making bank. Now, do you think you're going to jump into this and immediately have those numbers and make bank? Squatch Zone said, this guy, Alan Thomas, the guy that I told you about that built my computer right over there, he said he has over 1 million, but it took a decade. And that was he was so lucky in terms of he got into podcasting and doing videos and whatnot really early. And the corollary of that is, if you were to ever meet Alan Thomas, Jeremy Hanson, have you ever come up and met somebody like for the first time or second time or something like that, and you say hi to him, and like within 10 seconds, I like this guy. This is a really good dude. This guy is probably twice the dude that I am. No wonder everybody likes him. He's super nice. He's intelligent. Who the hell did I just meet? That's Alan. You can't meet him and not like him. And so I get that. I'm about as likable as a porcupine on fire. But I understand those things. I'll never get those numbers. But the point of the show is, if you want to podcast, walk in with an open mind understanding where you will or will not be. Because I'm telling you right now, this guy is kicking ass and taking names. 500,000 views. In what period of time, Jeremy Hanson?
30 days.
30 days. Okay. Can you do 500,000 views in a month? I don't fucking think so. I know I can.
I slipped. I'm at 110th now in the world. I was at 44 and I've fell all the way back, losing that 30%. I fell all the way back to 110th. So it gets really competitive when you start getting up there on what you're bringing in. But there's one other thing I wanted to say, BZ. Sometimes it's not about the money that your podcast brings in. A lot of times it's about the opportunities that get presented to you because you're doing the podcast.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Whether it's friendships, I mean, this kind of thing is what brought me and you together for our friendship. This thing. Rocky's the same way. I didn't know Rocky before this. I've built some really good friendships doing this. And just like today, I had a call from Hawaii from a guy that wanted to talk to me about my podcast for doing the entrepreneurship, because he's got some people in Florida, New York, and Hawaii that are doing this thing with these roofs. And he wanted to know how much it would be to be on my show to promote his stuff. I'm going to develop a relationship with this guy, and hopefully that, somebody younger than me, I can help get started with this guy. And I think those are all opportunities. And I think if you can help somebody that can't help themselves, I think that podcasting sometimes is the intermediary where you can actually do that, especially for young people.
Well, that's a great way to look at it. And yet the emphasis that I want to emphasizingly, if I haven't slaughtered that sufficiently, is good luck, be realistic, remember what goes into all of this. And I'm going to probably end the show with this is, Jeremy Hanson, if you're not having fun, is it worth it?
No. It's literally not, because people really don't realize how long it takes you to get good enough to be able to call yourself a professional, and then how much time and effort actually goes in it. I mean, how long do you usually prep for your shows?
If it's a 2-hour show and I have a guest, I'll come up for a guest, for example, I'll come up with 10 pages of questions for a guest. And that means I have to research the guest. That means I research every guest that I have on the show. For example, Rocky, I had to know where his media is. I have to prep the software here so it knows where I want it to go if I want to show some of his websites and whatnot. So I'll spend, for every hour on the air, I'll probably spend 5, 6, or 8 hours finding out about people, assembling, if I'm doing an interview, assembling questions that are logical so I don't look like a fucking moron when I'm speaking to someone that I've never spoken to before. And the other thing is, I like to take people on a journey through my show. And especially with the new software these days, I want to tell everybody, look, these aren't just my thoughts. These aren't just my opinions. Look, I want to be able to show you that this is my source material and I'm not full of shit. And so I have to assemble all of that source material. If I want to make a point, I have to have, if you want to be a logical thinking, rational podcaster, you got to have source material. Where did this come from? Or, are you just making this crap up? And I want to prove continuously every show I'm not making this stuff up, because I don't have to. So, yeah,
well,
it's
you can be right a million times, but you can only be wrong once. And that's the thing about being in the public purview, is that, yeah, like I said, a million times you can be right, and it only takes one to be wrong, and your credibility is gone.
Well,
so
and if you're not
what you're doing and what you're saying is right. Yep, that's it. So
it's absolutely true.
I'm happy to be where I'm at. I do really feel blessed. I feel blessed about the friends I've made. But the answer is, big podcasting real? No, I don't really think so.
Okay. All right. Jeremy Hanson, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
He did it earlier. So that it made me, I felt like, Rocky, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm busy. Jeremy Hanson. Jeremy Hanson, thank you. We'll have him back. Anyway, I'm BZ, and we're going to go out in this kind of style. Kind of like this. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, otherwise known as BZ's Saloon. Live and direct right here on Rumble and the SHR Media YouTube channel. On X, on Twitch, the grandiose KLRN, and tons, just metric tons of various bulbous vodcast. Hey, if I'm besotted with vodka, does that make me a vodcaster? Whoa, BZ. I'm going to have to think about it. I'll get back to you. By the way, promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, by Shure and Electro Voice Microphones, my Arrakis board, Pratt & Whitney Engines Developing Thrust. You can trust. And my tiaras tonight are by My Little Pony. Thanks to my guests, Jeremy Hanson and ROCCI STUCCI. Gotta have them both back. Period. End of statement. And naturally, thanks to my KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I will be consorting in less than a half hour, about 30 or 40 feet that way, out that door right now. To everybody, one and all, God bless. Be safe. Take care.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.